Yo, what's good, everybody? Back with another video. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down what it's like to actually hit $100,000 a month in your business and consistently do it, right? These videos, I don't really have anything hands-on or document to give you. A lot of the times, these are just coming up off the top of my head. So bear with me as everything is just coming from the brain. I really don't have a script or anything like that. Kind of just free-flowing, right? So, for starters, right, obviously, you want to be at 100K a month, and then you have those people who obviously want to hit 500 to $1 million a month. But as of right now, we're going to start off for having $100,000 a month. And realistically, you can do this super organically, right? I feel like you could do 100,000 a month with maybe just 25,000 followers, right? It all depends on, number one, what the offer is, what you're offering. If you're offering something, for example, let's say data analyst or a career coach, you probably would want to target people who are already, in a 9 to 5, or someone who has, semi a degree, or someone with money. You know what I mean? Data analyst, career coach, that's nothing cheap. You know what I mean? Especially if someone else is looking for the help, right? I do think also it comes down to the type of content you are putting out, right? If you're not putting out valuable content to where someone could literally transform their life off of your free value, it wouldn't really hit as hard as it could, right? When it comes to, running $100,000 a month business, like I said, it all comes down to the content. And so when it stems down to the content, even though a lot of people don't think it is, but when it comes down to the content, like I was saying, it's who you are portraying you're trying to be, right? You don't have to have insane amount of views. I really don't feel like. I feel like I said, if you're putting out that valuable content, and people are learning from it, I do think that you have a great chance of hitting $100,000 a month, right? Your top of funnel, which is your content, kind of like what you are running to hit these $100,000 months or to close these people, right? So it's a couple of ways you can do this. Sorry, I just took the jacket off. It got hot. It's a couple of ways to do this. Kind of what we've ran is either a DM strategic funnel or a call strategic funnel. And I'll kind of break that down as far as we'll start with the DM funnel. So right now with the creator that we're working with, we're essentially going to run a DM funnel, right? The reason why we're going to run a DM funnel is because he has over 500,000 followers online. And I think it would be way more easier to just run a DM funnel to a low ticket product, right? So when it comes to, let's say, pricing for your offer or whatever you're doing, I'd say, one, it all stems down to the audience, right? What I like to do is something called market research, right? Have the creator or have whoever you're working with post on their story to get some insight, right? Like, even for the product, you don't want to build something out that no one even really cares about it once, because no one's going to buy it. You know what I mean? People only buy for literally one reason. Can it transform their life? They could care less about what you've got going on. They could care less about what the product's got going on. But you want to, like, when you're speaking to these people, you want to sell the trip. You want to sell Hawaii, not the plane ticket to Hawaii, right? And so I feel like a lot of people are overlooking that, and they're trying to sell the plane ticket instead of selling Hawaii. Sell people on why Hawaii is the best place to be in the world, why Hawaii is so beautiful, the things that you can do out there in Hawaii, right? And so when it comes to that, and you have that market research, you're then able to put out there what people will buy, right? So like, for instance, for us, right, we did market research. We're running a fitness offer. As of right now, we're going to rip a low ticket offer. You know what I mean? I also do think, like, it depends on what you're offering, right? So like for us, we're just basically, doing hands and mobility, right? But as far as for a fitness guy who's helping, let's say 9 to 5 workers or businessmen, dude, you can charge high ticket for that, because look at your demographic or your ICP on who you're trying to target, right? If you're trying to target people under 21 or something like that, of course they're not going to have, well, I take that back, maybe not everybody, but it's a low probability that someone's going to want to pay $2,500. And that's not even high ticket. You know what I mean? So just stemming back on that, when choosing pricing, I say it's always market research. You always want to know what the audience wants. You know what I mean? Feedback is the best thing you can have in a business, and it helps you grow, right? So when you're growing, it always stems back to, one, the content, the pricing. And another thing I'll say is you can always go up on price. It's never good to come down. Now, of course, it's good to come down when you're running like a sale or a percentage off or something like that. But it's never good to start your, let's say your offer at $100. You see no one's buying, so you drop it to 50. I feel like that diminishes who you are as a person. You're undervaluing yourself. If no one's buying, you just need to make your marketing better and your product better, in my opinion, right? Moving on from, the pricing side, you'll then have, like I said, with the funnel. So I'll go back into the funnel that we're running. Essentially, all we're going to be doing is we'll have the person we're working with do a CTA via story or Instagram reels, or even on a live. Like you can do a live, which is low key a webinar without having to put, anything behind it. You can just literally go live. But like I said, it depends on who you're talking to. You know what I mean? Because if you're posting brain rot content to where you're attracting people from a third world country, and then you're trying to run an offer for something that is, semi-expensive or not even expensive, $100. Dude, those people in a third world country, like different currencies, USD compared to, let's say, like Indian currency or anything like that, dude, that's expensive out there where people live at, and people can't afford that. And so I think when it comes to, like I said, it comes down to who you're trying to target. And then one, like going back on the funnel, you have those funnels to where you're able to send, like I said, send them to the DMs, ask them a couple questions, try to make sure that they're a good fit. We're going to send them straight to the school community. After that, we'll literally just send them straight to the DMs. We'll have CTA, like if you've been struggling with hands, mobility, movement, etc., DM me hands. And so what that does is, one, the creator or the person you're working with already has that authority, right? And so when people DM them, I think nowadays, people are starting to pick up on AI. And so you can let people know that, you have a little automatic thingy or whatever. Or even if, because what we're going to use is mini chat. I highly do doubt to where if we have over 500,000 people DM to a specific Instagram keyword, it'd be quite impossible for a human to sit there and go through all those DMs and have a question, right? So of course, that's where mini chat comes in. And then of course, we're building out something to where we can replace all setters, right? AI is getting stronger. And I think, with the knowledge and the background on how you build an AI, training the LLMs, and just giving the data and knowledge from what you've already learned, I think that there's a high probability that setters can just be wiped out. But yeah, moving back to what I was saying. So essentially, we're just going to run a DM funnel. We're going to have them text us a keyword. We're going to send them to the school community where there's already VSL, testimonials, etc. And then we're just going to rip it like that. I swear to you, that's literally how simple it's going to be. It'd be CTA DMs. In the DMs, it'll literally be like 5 questions. After those 5 questions, they're going to get sent to the school community, right? Now, when you are scaling, like I said, I feel like scaling to 100 grand a month, it all really just stems back on content, right? And when I say ripping content, I don't mean shoving content down people's throat like, hey, buy my stuff, buy my stuff, buy my stuff. What you're putting out on Instagram, the value, to where it questions them on, damn, well, I wonder what its paid stuff is like, right? And so I really, really want you guys to put that in your brain to where you have to be providing valuable content. Now, like I said in the last video, once you start dabbling into ads, dude, your organic content should have no CTAs. The ask is in the ads, right? And so when you're scaling to 100 grand a month, it's kind of like, you're promoting it. To you, it feels like you're promoting it so much. And there's this saying, I believe it was with the head of marketing for Ford, I believe. He was running a campaign and he would come into the office and he would see the same thing over and over and over. I believe they were marketing a car. Don't quote me on this. I heard this a while back, but they were marketing a car. He would walk by it every single day and he would see it. And it got to a point to where he was getting a bit aggravated and he ended up going to the people who were under him, who was doing it. And he was like, why do we still have this same ad up? I'm getting tired of seeing it. And the marketer, or the guy who did it under him, basically sat there and told him, like, dude, we haven't even launched this yet. People barely even know about this. You're the first person to tell me, hey, we should remove this. I've seen it too many times, right? And so kind of how that correlates is because from the creator's standpoint, right? For example, we'll use the guy that we're working with. You have over 500,000 followers, right? People don't understand how big that is because no one's really face to face with 500,000 people, right? You just see a number behind a screen. And so what that is when you're promoting something, right? Let's say you're about to launch something, or you're promoting your community, your business, or in a sense, right? To you, it seems like you're putting that type of content out there every single day, but you have to remember you have 500,000 people that follow you. Not everybody's going to see that piece of content every day, right? And so when you start to post, you start to add CTAs, to you it feels like it's going to be repetitive. And it may seem like that, to where you may have to slow down sometimes, right? How we do it is depending on how good the person is at content and how they do it, we will probably only do 2 CTAs a week, right? Now it's different when you're doing pre-launch content, because I'll kind of go on this as well. So like person we're working with, we are doing pre-launch content right now. He's been killing it. We did a Q&A yesterday on Instagram story. I think today we're going to drop a video, just a reel, like verbally saying that we have something to say. And then tomorrow we're going to drop another video with the countdown. We're going to launch next Monday. The community looks insane. But moving on. And so what that does to you when you're sitting here posting so much is, like I said, it kind of puts you in like that mindset of like, holy crap, these people are seeing me so much. But you have to understand, like, I always go back to Apple for an example. How many times do you see a new iPhone, or how many times do you even see like the iPhone 17, the orange one that just came out? How many times have you seen that ad? Even for the iPhone 15, the titanium, that is still stuck in my brain when they dropped that ad. iPhone 15 titanium, never seen before, right? That ad is still in my brain, and I'm 2 generations behind, about to be 3, on the iPhone. And so switch up the content, right? You don't want to just sit here and do grocery hauls 24/7 and sit here and CTA, because then you're going to end up burning yourself out, right? If the video does good, once, maybe rip it a couple more times, but don't sit here and make that your everyday post to where it burns out and now you're running out of ideas, right? I also too do think organically the eyeballs do matter just a tad bit. I'll kind of go back on that, because if you're talking about something super valuable, like I was saying with data analyst, your ICP. So I mean, if you speak to the camera and be like, hey, I'm looking for someone 35 and older who's doing $100,000 a year, and wants to switch their life around or something, dude, of course they're going to have the money to buy, right? So now moving on, and like I said, guys, sorry if this is all over the place. Everything is just coming off my brain. I'm just really trying to get better at talking to the camera. So just bear with me. And even in the comments, if you guys would like a PDF, or if you guys would like for me to actually break this down so you can visualize it, just let me know down in the comments. But moving along, so you have your funnel, right? Go into the call funnel as well. So with the call funnel, if you're running a call funnel organically, I think these are just super simple, right? So with a call funnel, how we're going to do it with our other client is we're literally going to do VSL, application link, and testimonials. That's it, right? When you're running a call funnel, you don't want to let people book so many days out in advance, right? Max you want to do is 3. And when you're doing that, it increases the show up rate, right? Even if you nimble it down to 2, right? It increases the show up rate. If you're getting people 10 days out to choose from, dude, that show up rate's going to be terrible, right? Because people are going to forget about that. Think about, I mean, people only really remember something if it's like something major, or they're booking out a trip, or, even people forget about that, So I think letting people choose maybe max 3 days out will, 1, increase intentional buyers, and 2, it'll also improve your show up rate. So for those people who out there who have more than 3 days on your calendar, dude, just try to bring it down to 3 and let me know if it increases your show up rate. Another thing too is you always want to record those sales calls, even if it's not you. And now this is kind of what I was transitioning into now, is hitting 100 grand a month. Yes, you can do it alone, but I'm telling you, you can scale 10 times faster when you have the right people in place, right? And so for me, I manage literally everything. Like, only thing I don't touch is sales, right? That's Carson's job. Carson does all the sales. He even closes all the creators. He manages all of the sales teams. That Carson is literally just strictly sales. I handle everything else. I'm speaking. He doesn't even talk to the clients. Only time he talks to the clients is when he closes them. And obviously, we like to be a little, show a little personality with our clients. So of course we'll, speak to him. He'll speak to him, chop it up with them, ask them how they're doing for the day. But usually it's just me speaking to them, and I'm handling everything else in the background, ads, etc., all that. So what you want to do is you want to have these recorded calls, right? Even if it's you taking the calls, you need to make sure you record these calls, because what that does is when you record these calls in today's age, you have AI, right? And with AI, you are able to take these videos, these recorded calls, put them in AI, and you're able to curate an even better offer than what you already had, to solidify that you can go deeper into your audience and extract the right people, the right clients, right? And when you do that, you'll be speaking to what you have, your ICP, right? And so breaking it down, like with the team, right? So everybody needs to have their role. Of course, you have the content creator. That's number 1. Honestly, this is just a one-man business. Me and Carson have just been able to do this together, and we've been able to scale like how, in the roles that we've done, right? You can do this by yourself 100%. But Carson's like, the buddy, he's the business partner, and also too, he handles the sales, right? Eventually you're going to have to hire a salesperson. Like, eventually I'm going to have to hire a media buyer, because we have more than one client. We're going to go into the teams now, because with having the right teams, you also need to have the right systems in place, right? So follow-ups, automations, like those things, especially when you're running a call funnel, those things are very, 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 very important. You have to do that, because people will always forget. I mean, dude, people are scrolling on social media nowadays. They're barely watching 30-second clips, right? And so the attention span, on a lot of these people nowadays are very short. And so, like I'm always say, marketing is reminding people. So, when people book a call, people register, all you're doing, hey, don't forget about this. Don't forget about your call on this day. Don't forget about you're reminding. And so even in your posting, like all you're doing is reminding people, like, hey, I have a community for people struggling with, hands, mobility, shoulder, etc. Right? Like, you're reminding them. And of course, as you're reminding, you're continuing to grow. That's when I say, like, you have to have strategic content. Now, of course, I'm not the content creator. I can, provide you with, docs and ideas on how to bring in the right people, but I'm not the one with 500,000 followers, And so, so it comes down to, like I said, the teams and the systems, right? So when you have the right team in place, it's easy for you to scale. Like, the creator, when you run this business correctly, the creator should only have to worry about, posting and seeing data. Like, he should see, like, okay, last month I brought in 132 leads with, let's say, 1 million views or whatever, right? Now he knows minimum 1 million views brings in 132 leads. Why not try to aim higher and reach 10 million accounts, right? Or 10 million views, how much would that bring in? 5 million views, how much would that bring in, right? You want to have that creator flywheel, or that you want to have that flywheel to where you're able to provide the data to the creator. He knows exactly what he needs to do, and you're posting, and you're in the back end of the business, scaling it as hard as possible. Like I said, it really just comes down to, one, who the creator is. Like, is he going to be dedicated to post? Because you have to post. Like, it's not like a thing to where you can post once a week. Now, it's different if you're on YouTube, because a YouTube audience is 10 times stronger than any type of platform. Like, if someone can sit there and watch you long form, I definitely do think that's a different type of audience. Not like saying a different type of audience, but a different intent on that audience. And what I mean by that is, those are the ones who are really going to blow the bag, who are really going to spend the money for you or on you to learn something from you. Those are your dedicated people, right? And so kind of just, I know this was all over the place. Like I said, guys, I'm just literally going off the top of my brain, but kind of just bringing everything back around and solidifying everything. So, one, the content has to be pushing. The content has to be, it doesn't even have to be great content. It just needs to be decent, right? And with the decent content comes with having the right teams in place, having the right systems in place, choosing the right funnel. Also, like, everything is just testing, right? So, like, even if you're running a call funnel, hey, your audience may like a DM funnel better, right? Everything is just testing, right? You don't have to be right when you're doing this stuff. It just has to make money. And so as long as you're making money and you're profitable, I'd say continue to keep ripping. But also too, like, dude, obviously you want to try new things. Like, if you're running a call funnel, I mean, your ROAS isn't going to be something insane. I mean, it probably will be something insane, but eventually it's going to, go down. Why not, swap over to a webinar, try a webinar, just like I said, wrap this video up. You need content. You guys have to be on the same page. You got to have the right systems in place, right? And you got to have a great team. I think those 4 things right there can easily scale you to 100 grand a month in your business. And so, yeah, I just wanted to come here and leave you guys off with that. Like I said, I know this was a little bit all over the place. Let me know in the comments if you guys would like for me to sit down at my computer and give you guys a visualized breakdown rather than me just walking around in this room rambling. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. We're launching here soon with our creator here, and I hope you guys stay tuned for that. Don't forget to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.